back to my channel. So today's gonna be more of a different video, more of a sad video, as you can see in the title. But I first want to start off with some motivation and some positive for anyone going through infertility or not being able to like get pregnant like this, you know. I first want to say, just know when you're planning it, it takes longer. It really does, because people that don't plan it, you don't know how long it took because they weren't actually trying, you know. But also, this is so hard to hear. I used to hear this a lot, but it's in God's timing. And honestly, I can say it's very true, because what happened to me, it was like perfect timing. And also sending you guys some baby dust, because I know it's hard. It's really hard to be patient, to not stress. It's really hard. And I feel like the stress is what messes it up as well. So I wanted to talk about my story, about why I thought I was infertile and how long it took me to get pregnant and all that stuff. So back in 2018, I believe I was 22, if I'm not wrong. But I wanted a baby, but my husband is more like the smarter decision one. And you know, we had to talk. We knew we weren't financially stable for it. We didn't have a place. We were actually renting a room at the time, so we're like, no, let's wait it off. When we finally got an apartment in 2020, we were actually trying, like, not actually trying, but he wouldn't pull out. So that was like a whole year, I believe, a whole year, no protection, no nothing. We were like, if it happens, it happens, right? Because he had got a really good job, so we were like, okay, if it happened. And then it happened a whole like year later. Then I was so excited. We were so excited. We announced really early. I was only 7 weeks, and we were planning to announce because he was graduating from like his job. So we were like, you know what, let's go to the ER. And I know it's selfish to go to the ER just to know your baby is like okay and stuff like that. Well, not selfish, but like there's other people that like are in need for that ER visit, emergency visit. But there we go, and the baby had a heartbeat. But yeah, the baby had a heartbeat, and the baby was good. They were able to see him. So we were like, yeah, let's go for it, you know. They let me take a picture of the screen for the ultrasound. I printed that out. We announced to the family, and my first OB appointment was going to be the week after. So we're happy in here. And then the next week comes to our first OB appointment, and they're checking me, right? And I could tell something's off by her like expression. She's just like very serious, looking for the heartbeat. And my husband was sitting on my left, and I was like this, and I could not get my eyes off the screen, because I just knew something was wrong. And I felt like if I turned to him, I was just gonna start crying. So she's like, oh, I'm sorry, like, let me go get someone else, right? So she goes and gets someone else, and they look a little like, you know, not obviously not happy or anything like that, a little bit more on the downside. So I knew something was wrong, and I always felt like I was never gonna go through that. It's so crazy to think that like things that happen in the world can actually happen to you as well. Oh my God. When she told me those words, she turned to me and she was like, I'm sorry. When she said that, I started crying like a baby, like crying, like I didn't even care. My legs were open still, everything. Like I was like, you know, naked, waist down. I started crying like a baby. I couldn't stop. I was like, man, like I've been wanting this baby, you know, for many years. I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop crying. My husband got up. They got me up. He was hugging me. They gave me the ultrasound picture. I was crying. Oh my gosh. So the baby had no heartbeat. And they're like, let's wait 1 week and maybe the heartbeat can come. But I already knew the baby had a heartbeat, and then it didn't, right? They just thought maybe the heartbeat's not there yet, but I was 7 weeks. I think the heartbeat should be there by then. So the next week comes, I'm 8 weeks, right? Still no heartbeat. So they start to talk to me about abortion pills. I honestly didn't know there were abortion pills. I didn't really know. They just said that it's medicine to help it come out and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, you know. And they started talking about surgery. So I'm like, I'm kind of scared of surgery. Like, let me take the pills. So I remember taking those pills home, and right when I was gonna take the first pill, I remember I was just thinking about it, and I was just crying and crying and crying because we still had faith. So I waited off a little bit. I prayed, my dad prayed, we all prayed, and no, the baby wouldn't start, the heartbeat wouldn't come back. So I decided to take the pill. I remember I was crying, I couldn't take it, I was just thinking about it, so I did it. It didn't work. It did not work. So I thought maybe this is God's, like, you know, God telling me that, like, this baby's maybe okay. So then they started to tell me, hey, you need a book for your surgery. And I'm like, okay. But I was, like, you know, waiting it off because I was scared, and I was thinking, like, I still have faith, like, this baby might, you know, it might work out or something like that. But no, it didn't. And then my 9th week appointment came, and the baby was already with no heartbeat since 7 weeks, and I'm already 9 weeks. But since 8 weeks, they've been trying to book my appointment to get surgery, but they kept saying, oh, we're gonna call you, because there was like this certain lady that had to call me, and she wouldn't call me. So at 9 weeks, one of my aunt was like, you know, it's bad to have like the baby in you like that, like it's bad for you. So I got scared, and I started doing my research and stuff like that, and I see now there's this tea that helps you clean out your uterus. So I started taking the tea. It wasn't doing anything at all, and I was like, man, okay, the surgery it is. So they tell me, oh, your surgery is gonna be tomorrow. They're like, but today in the afternoon they're gonna call you for the time and place. And I'm like, okay. They didn't give me a call. It was already like 5-6 p.m. So I called, and they're like, oh, the lady's not in anymore. And I'm like, what? Like, how am I going this long with, like, you know, a baby like that? So I called the next few days. I keep trying to contact her and stuff like that. I think I even emailed her. They gave me her email until they finally, like, maybe like 9 weeks and a half, they finally said, okay, here, this day, this time. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I just got to do it. I got to do it for my health. I had to, like, how do you say it? I had to realize that, like, this baby was just not going to make it, sadly. So that night before, actually, family members were calling me. My grandma called me, and she asked me, like, how did I feel? And I told her I was scared. I started crying. And then that night, I was talking to my mother-in-law, and then I remember feeling like these bad cramps in my stomach and my lower back, and I had to tell her, like, hey, I'll talk to you later, like, I'm sorry. And I went to the bathroom. TMI, but I had to, like, go number 2, and it was like normal, right? But I felt pain the whole time. So then when I got up, I just felt like, okay, like, I think I'm done. Like, so I got up, I cleaned, right? And when I was gonna put on my pants, I felt something hanging, like, down my leg. So I was like, I looked down, because I was taking pictures of every single clot and, like, blood that was coming out. If you guys want to see pictures and stuff like that, I don't mind showing it, but it's just that it's a lot of blood, so I don't know if I should, because I know some people get disgusted on blood. So if you guys do want to see that, I can do another video updating on all that. But I was taking pictures of every single thing that was coming out, and when that came out, I took a picture of it, right? And we did not have a trash can. And I sent a picture to my dad and his wife. And I was like, look at this. Like, that's so crazy. Like, it's something big, right? It was maybe like the size of my palm. And he was like, where is this thing at? And I was like, what? Like the picture I took? And he was like, yes, where is it? And I was like, I already threw it. And he was like, in the trash can? And I was like, no, I don't have a trash can. I threw it down the toilet. Why? And he told me, turn the phone upside down, because I guess it was upside down. And so I didn't notice. And when I turned it upside down, I remember being on the phone with him. I started crying so much. Oh my gosh, I started crying so much. I felt, I don't know, like heartbroken. I felt, I don't even know how to explain. I just felt so bad. Like, damn, what did I just do? You know, like I started thinking, like the baby like going through the toilet. You know, like it's the worst thing. So I started crying. I had to hang up. People were calling me. I didn't want to talk to no one. I was so sad. My husband was training at his job, so he couldn't even be there. Like literally no one visited me. So I was kind of alone because my husband worked 12 hours. So he would get home and like we didn't really have time together, you know. People did check up on me on the phone, but you know, you need like people to physically like visit you and stuff, especially going through that. I went through depression. I cried every single day. I cried so much, so much. I could not even talk about babies. Like, my niece was born, and I could not even talk about my niece being born with my mother-in-law because I would cry. I would cry. So then when that happened, I I started feeling more bad because I started telling family members what had happened, and instead of like telling me it was okay, or I know it was not okay, but obviously I didn't know, they started telling me you should have kept it in the jar to give it to the doctor, you should have done this, you should have done that. But they didn't understand that I did not know. I didn't know what was going on. I was alone, you know. When the baby came out, I was alone. My husband was working. He was working nights, so obviously like I did not know, and I was getting blamed for it. It's probably something you ate, it's probably this and that, and it feels horrible. Like they're not, they probably didn't do it intentionally, but it just felt horrible, like on top of what you're going through, and then they're blaming you. So the next day comes surgery day, and I'm like, you know what, let me just get over with this. I showed them the picture. They checked me, they said, yeah, baby's not in there, so that was the baby. They confirmed that, and they still had to do the surgery to clean me up inside. I started taking raspberry tea to help me clean out my uterus. One thing I did not do, which I regret, is I did not like rest. I was up and about. I was having pain and I was still up and about just because I was trying to like forget about my pain, but I couldn't. I couldn't. Then we tried and tried and tried to get pregnant again, and I just felt like I couldn't. I would always tell people like, I think I'm just a dog mom. I don't think I'm gonna ever be a mom. So then the next year I went to nail school actually, and I graduated. When I graduated, well, a month before I graduated, I actually went to go get like a uterus massage because they said my uterus was dropped from all the weights I used to lift. So they said that's why I couldn't get pregnant, and then that's why I had a miscarriage. So I stopped lifting, and then that following month I graduated, and I felt so sick and sleepy like never before. And like we were like, this is not normal. So I took a test because I was like, I think I'm pregnant, you know. I felt it, and yeah, I was pregnant. Oh my gosh, I started crying. It took me so long, but I was so scared inside. I was so scared that, you know, this was gonna happen again. Obviously, when you go through a miscarriage, they always say like, don't think of it, like just think about this baby. But no, it's hard. Like when you go through it, you know, it's hard. Excuse me, it's hard not to think like it could happen again, you know. So for every little thing, I was taking care of myself, and people would be like, don't think like that, just go for it, whatever. I'm like, no, like if I went through it, I need to take care of myself, you know. So I stopped lifting, I stopped working out. I enjoyed my pregnancy. I didn't have any scares. I believe I only had one scare because I was bleeding a little bit. Like I would bleed after sex, like in the first trimester. So we kind of pulled that off because I was like, nope, I am not trying to have no accidents. So, you know, um, I had my baby boy on May 29, 2023 of this year. He's already gonna be 6 months. He is healthy. Oh my gosh, I am like the happiest right now. Um, and I honestly can't wait for him to like start doing more things. He's like sitting up now, and I kind of wanted to end this video off more of like a positive, like, trust me, trust me, trust me, I know how it feels to want to get pregnant and you can't. I know how it feels. And honestly, I got pregnant because I got the uterus massage, so I recommend that. Like, look for like those Mexican like massagers. um they honestly only charged me $20 here in Las Vegas. So I got the uterus massage. I got, what did I get? What was the other thing? Oh, sorry. I got the uterus massage and I stopped stressing. Literally that month, I told my husband, you know what? I am not even gonna think about it because I was doing the wrong, stressing about it, and literally taking ovulation tests, pregnancy tests, so many tests, and I'm like, I'm done. Like, if I'm gonna get pregnant, I'm gonna get pregnant, you know? So I literally got pregnant that following month after I stopped carrying and I stopped stressing and I got my uterus massaged, and also after I graduated from nail school. So that's when I tell you it's God's timing. Like, literally, like, it was like the best timing because imagine being in nail school and pregnant. There were some pregnant girls there, but like the smell, and then you're so tired, you're just sitting all day. So like, it was the best ever. I was able to enjoy my pregnancy at home. But yeah, I'm just sending baby dust to everyone. Trust me, be positive, don't stress. I know it's hard not to stress, not to think about it, but trust. And just pray to God. Just leave it all in God's hands. And I hope you guys find this video motivating you to not stress. To not stress. Like, it will happen. Trust me. Like, God makes miracles. He really does. But I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye.